So again, the message of this episode is there are a lot of health habits and a lot of health hacks out there. Most important thing is that whatever you're choosing to do is that you feel good while you do it and you enjoy doing it.
You're tuned in to the Dr. Kinney Show, and I'm your host, Dr. Erin Kinney, a naturopathic doctor and speaker dedicated to unraveling the mysteries of your body and guiding you back into balance. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Dr. Kinney Show. Hope everyone's doing well. So I wanted to share my current favorite health hacks, if you will, or the current things that I've tried over the past year that I really like and that I'm really digging. And the good news is they're simple and they've made big changes. And I just want to chat a little bit about if you are trying to make changes to your health, I've found that the simpler the change, the easier it will be to implement. And anything that you implement, even if it's the smallest change, if you're able to do it regularly, that's what will give you the biggest results. So it's the regular things that we do every day that pretty much make up what our health is. So, the little habit changes that we do make end up giving us the most profound differences in our health, in our emotional health, in our physical health, in how we're, just how we're doing in general in life. So, all right. So let's talk about my current favorite hacks. So one, I post about this all the time on social media. If you don't already follow me on social media, go check me out. I'm on Instagram a lot at Dr. Kinney. I am obsessed with my gratitude journal. It has made, I think it's been the single biggest difference maker in my life in the last few years. It is something that takes me maybe 5 minutes, and guess what? The journal's called the 5-minute journal. In the morning, it has you write down the date. It has a lovely little quote. I love reading a quote first thing in the morning, like a nice inspirational quote. And then it has 3 spaces for you to write 3 things that you're grateful for. And when I first started this, I would usually write about 3. Now I try to cram in 15 or 20 in that small little space, because the cool thing about a gratitude practice is once you start doing it, you're like, ooh, I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for that. And let me finish talking about the journal, then we'll talk a little bit about why this is one of my favorite health hacks. So 3 things that you're grateful for, and then you write down 3 things that would make today great. So the 3 things that you're grateful for could be, I love my bed. I love my pillows. I love the sleep that I got last night, or I love the sunrise, or I love my children or my friends, or it could be anything. It could be, I love watching funny cat memes on Instagram, or I love, puppies or chocolate or rainbows. Or sometimes I find that if you're not in a great mood about things in your current life, it's easier to be grateful about something like really silly, really general, we call it. So again, puppies, chocolate, rainbows, things like that you're always going to love no matter what's going on in your life. So again, 3 things that you're grateful for. And then examples of 3 things that could make today great. Maybe you had planned to go for a walk with a friend, or maybe you were going to take a little time to yourself at the end of the day. Or, you could write a goal here. You could be like, hey, today would be great if I hit X amount of dollars in my business, or if I, managed to get this workout done, or if I managed to, take all my supplements, whatever like feels good to you in that day. So what would make today feel really good, or what would make you feel good in your day? And then the last piece you write are 2 positive affirmations. And so you can have a little fun here, or this could be the same affirmation. I've been really, for the last 2 years, I've kind of picked an affirmation, kind of like you pick a word for the year. I've, for the past 2 years, picked an affirmation statement, and I've written that statement every single day. And I'll share what mine was for 2022. My statement was, I am loved and supported. I went into 2022 in a state where I wasn't feeling that supported in life in general, in my business, and a lot of different aspects. And that was what I wanted to cultivate. I wanted to cultivate the feeling of being supported by friends, by my employees, by my family, by, I just wanted to feel support. And I tell you what, that was my, that was my goal. That was my intention. That was my affirmation that I wrote every single day. I actually wrote it twice a day, because I'm going to talk about what I write at the end of the day. And when I look back on 2022, that is exactly what I cultivated. I cultivated support in every area of my life. So what we write and what we think about every day makes a really, really, really profound impact on what tends to show up in our lives. So I really like that part of this. You can just get a regular journal and write, what you're grateful for. But I really like the 3 things you're grateful for, what's going to make today great, and then those affirmations. And so I would write the same one, and then I would choose a different one for the day, depending on what was going on that day, something that I wanted to feel. Maybe there was something I wanted to feel good about in my body, or with a friend, or with a partner, or with, with work, just a positive affirmation. I am supported. I am connected. I am safe. I am feeling great. I am, happy. I am content, whatever it is that feels good to you. And again, you want to make sure when you're writing these things that they feel good, because the purpose of this exercise, especially first thing in the morning and right before we go to bed, is to start to train your brain to go for the positive thought and the positive emotion first, rather than going towards the negative. And when we feel good, and when our brain feels good, and when our brain is going for the positive thoughts, that starts to translate and trickle down into the physical body, and it makes our physical bodies feel better. So again, and this is not something, you might not feel an amazing difference after doing this once, or you might, I don't know. But this is a little thing that doing this every day, it's like one of those little micro habits that it starts to add up, and you'll start to, and like I look forward to writing in my gratitude journal every morning. I, at one point this past year, actually tried out several gratitude journals, and I was writing in about 3 different ones at once, which did take a little bit longer. If you're up for it, it was fun, but it did make my morning routine a little bit longer, because there are other ones out there that have different prompts, or I tried one without a prompt just to see. But I have to say, the one that I really like is the 5-minute journal. This is not sponsored, by the way. The 5-minute journal, they have it on Amazon. They have it on their website. They also have a really, really great explanation about the science behind gratitude. Go read theirs. They're going to do a better job of explaining it than I will today. So love that. And then at the end of the day, you reflect back on your day and you write down 3 good things that happened today. These were the things that were amazing today. And they may be the things that you were expecting, or they might be totally different, which is also cool. And you can also write more than 3 things. You can write more than they ask, but I try to get to at least 3 things. And then you write down, again, 2 positive affirmations. I took to practicing writing down the same affirmations. I really liked the aspect of writing the same thing, like anchoring my day with the same affirmation in the morning and the evening. But the 5-minute journal's idea is that second set of affirmations at the end of the day are for you to almost like say things. So let's say that you get to your end of the day and maybe you had wanted to exercise, or you had wanted to do XYZ and you didn't get that done. Instead of having the thought process of, oh man, I didn't make it to the gym today, I didn't go to yoga, I didn't get XYZ done, you write in that affirmation space as if you did it. So you would write, I go to the gym and I feel great, or I go to yoga and I feel great. So it's almost like training your brain to be like, well, I didn't go today, but I know that when I do those things, I do feel good. So it's just, all of this is about training your brain to think in a more positive way. Because again, when our brains are more positive, our bodies tend to feel better. They tend to perform better. Our brains perform better when they're in this more positive flow, great state. And when your brain is performing better, guess what? You're going to do better in work. You're going to be better at relationships. You're going to do life better. So again, my all-time favorite hack, the 5-minute journal. So that's number 1. Number 2, my current other favorite little health hack has been drinking bone broth mid-morning and mid-afternoon. Now, bone broth is amazing for a lot of different reasons. I really like it because it has protein in it. It's got amino acids in it. It's extremely healing for your digestive tract. If you salt it up a little bit, it will help keep you hydrated. So if you have any sort of digestive issue, if you've been struggling to keep your blood sugar balanced, adding in, again, mid-morning, and let's say that, you're someone who likes to be on the run, put your bone broth in your coffee mug, which is what I do. And it's about 11:30 and I'm drinking my bone broth. I have it before I have lunch. And then I usually have it again in the afternoon when I'm hitting a little bit of an energy slump. So it's going to give you a little bit of protein. It's going to hydrate you. It's really nice in the winter because it's warm and it kind of makes you feel like you're drinking a soup. So current other favorite hack, a little bit of bone broth. Even if you just do that once a day, or you could do it first thing in the morning, the timing of it doesn't necessarily make that much of a difference. I do mine at those 2 points because that's when I need a little bit of a blood sugar thing. And sometimes I'll do that with a little bit of a snack. I really like, either like a nut bar or, a little beef jerky stick or something with protein to help keep my blood sugar balanced. It's really great for energy. I feel like it's helping with brain fog stuff. I prescribe bone broth a lot to patients if they're struggling, again, with GI issues, with allergies, with skin issues. So again, it's kind of a catch-all, and it's a really easy thing to do. I've currently been loving the Kettle and Fire brand. I just heat it up in the microwave. You could heat it up on the stove. I'm not a huge fan of microwaves, but lately I've been a little too busy to heat up on the stove. Although, just a side note, it actually does not take that much longer to heat things up on the stove than it does in the microwave. But so I used to live in a house without a microwave. And for the first month, I was like, gosh, this is so annoying. I don't have a microwave. And then after a month, I literally did not miss it. I have a microwave in my current house, and when it's there, but I have to say I don't love microwaving. This is just a side rant. If you microwave anything that has butter in it, the butter turns into a carcinogen. So please do not heat up leftovers that contains butter in a microwave. Again, put it on the stove. It really doesn't take that much time. And I just mentioned the microwave because that's what I've been currently doing. But after talking about this, I'm going to stop. I'm going to heat my bone broth up in a kettle, maybe. So bone broth, love it. I think it's really great. Hack number 3 that I've been really into, and I posted about this, is red light therapy. And we ended up getting a red light therapy bed at the office, which is amazing. It's like a full body bed. It feels like a tanning bed. I'm kind of embarrassed, but not really embarrassed to admit that I used to be a tanning bed addict back in the day before we knew how bad it was for you. We probably did know it was for you, but I did it anyways because it made me feel good. It really helped with my depression. It helped with my motivation, and I liked being tan. The amazing thing about the red light bed, and red light in general, you don't have to lay in a bed, but if you're laying in a bed, it feels like you're in a tanning bed, and you get the same mental, emotional, motivational boost because it's giving your cells light energy. So red light gives your cells mitochondrial energy. So it's supercharging your mitochondria, which is what allows your body to do anything. So here's the cool thing about red light therapy right now. It's kind of like the next CBD. It's everywhere. You can get a little panel at home. You can get a bed you could have at home. You could get a mat. There are so many products out there that are available right now. I highly encourage you, if you're able to, either find a place where you can go get in a red light bed on a regular basis, or get a device that you can use in your home and use it as often as you can. There's really no downside. It helps with wrinkles. It helps with acne. It's going to help with any sort of skin condition, but it also is giving your body cellular energy. And when we give the cells more energy, the body can do anything that it needs to do. So, third favorite hack right now, red light therapy. Love it. My 4th current favorite thing is something that I've been wearing for about 4 months now, and it's called the Apollo Neuro device. And again, I just want to say nothing in this podcast is sponsored. These are all just things that I currently love. So it's called Apollo Neuro. You can go check them out online. It is a wearable device that's not tracking anything. It's literally, it vibrates at different vibrational speeds to talk to your nervous system, to kind of give your nervous system feedback, and it's like giving your nervous system a hug. So you can use it to train your nervous system to become more resilient. You can use it to train your nervous system to calm down. I got the thing when I was headed to the biohacking conference in September, and I wore it on the plane when I was going out there. And it's got 7 or 8 different modes. And one of the modes is clear and focused. And I had read a little bit about it, but I was like, I'm going to put this on. I'm going to try this out. I put it on that clear and focus mode. I don't normally do work on planes. I tend to try to relax or read or sleep. And I got out my laptop and I was so focused and so clear. I got through all my emails, and it was really great. I also, when I landed, it was, 3 a.m. LA time. It was one of those 24-hour nightmare travel situation days, which normally takes my body a little while to recover from, and my nervous system tends to feel a little bit frazzled. But I wore that, and it has a repair and recovery mode, and I wore that for the next day, and I bounced back really quickly. Now, just to say this, I'm pretty big sucker for a placebo effect. So I usually have to give things a few months for me to really be like, was this the placebo effect, or was this really the device? I've since been wearing that device for about 4 months. I try to average about 2 to 3 hours a day. And I've noticed a profound difference in my nervous system's ability to calm down. And so to give you an example, I have a couple of really long patient days during the week. On Tuesdays, I see patients for 10, 11 hours. And at the end of that day, I typically feel a little bit fried when I get home. It's hard for me to calm down because I've been on all day. I've been on my computer, I'm with patients, I've been going. And it takes me a while to unwind and relax. I typically, in the past, have had a hard time falling asleep on Tuesdays. And for the last couple of months since I wear that all day Tuesday, and I wear it in different modes to help calm my nervous system down. And they have a relax and unwind mode. And I put that on typically right at the end of the day. And I've been able to fall asleep a lot easier. I've noticed my sleep is getting a little bit deeper. So I'm a really big fan of that. It's about a $400 investment, but I think it's a really worthwhile investment. There's so many different wearable devices out there that track your data, which is great. The Oura Ring, the Fitbit, all the different things that can kind of give you this information. But this is actually a wearable that's like actually working on your nervous system. So my experience, and again, I love all the trackables or the wearables that track things. I think it's really great to have data because we can make changes based on the data that you're getting. But I will say sometimes, like I currently don't wear any of those wearable devices because of my tendency to be a little bit hypochondriac. And, it's a little bit disconcerting when you keep seeing day after day that, your sleep isn't great or your blood sugar isn't great. It can tend to wind your nervous system up a little bit. Again, I'm not saying don't wear them. They're super helpful, but I really like this wearable device because it's actually working to calm your nervous system down. I gave all my family members this for Christmas this year because I was like, I think everyone needs to wear this. And what I've found, particularly in my patient populations and my patients that have given me feedback about using this device, is that, most people coming to me are like, hey, I know that I'm stressed out and I know that my stress is starting to take a toll on my life. I know what I need to do, but I don't have a lot of time to do it. I know I should be doing breath work. I know I should be meditating. I know I should be doing XYZ, going to these things, but it's really hard to fit that into my routine. What I love about this is you just put it on and you go about your life and it's working, while you're going about your life to calm your nervous system down. So again, I'm a really big fan. If you're interested, check it out. They also have some really cool research available on their website talking about using this device in people with PTSD and people who've experienced, real big T trauma and or little T trauma and what it's done to their nervous systems. Just a side note, all of us have experienced trauma since 2020. So all of our nervous systems are a little bit wound up. So I think we could all use a little bit of unwinding. That's my current favorite hack for that right now. I have another device that I'm going to talk about and that I started using around the same time. That's called Brain Tap. It kind of looks like these headphones I have on, and it's got a little visor that kicks out the front. It is a meditation device that uses blue light, red light, and binaural beats to kind of reprogram your thinking and hack your brain or deep dive your brain into a meditative state a lot easier than some other meditative forms. So you put the device on. Again, there's a little shield that goes over your eyes that is flashing blue lights, and you hear binaural beats and you hear a voice. Most of the voice tracks are by Dr. Patrick Porter, who founded BrainTap, and he's talking to you through both ears. And there's hundreds of different tracks you can listen to. There's ones about success. There's ones about health. There's ones about weight loss. There's ones about sleep, kind of any area in your life that you think you want to improve. So he'll talk to you in one track where you hear it in both ears. And then you will also hear a second voice. It's his voice as well, but a second line of talking that will come in through the right side. And then it might come into the left side. And it's kind of a little bit like a subliminal messaging thing. And it's really an interesting experience. When you first listen to it, your brain's like, whoa, which one do I listen to? Do I listen to that voice, this voice? And most of the ones he usually will say, you can listen to either voice. It doesn't matter. But so for a minute, your brain gets a little like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then it's this wild experience. Then your brain is like, you know what? I'm just going to be here. I'm just going to experience. I'm just going to take it all in. And it is wild how fast it will get you into that meditative state. And I think it's a combination of the blue light, the red light, the binaural beats, and this, dual track voice that you're getting in both ears. So because I like to try things out and I like to give it a good go, I've been using that twice a day as well for about 4 months and have really noticed a difference in my brain's ability when it gets in a negative thought pattern to get out of that negative thought pattern. And, it's a little bit of a subtle shift, but I really enjoy it. And I really enjoy anything that helps with sleep. And I find that when I put that on before bed, I almost always fall asleep within the first 10 minutes. I'm sure I'm getting some sort of benefit listening to it, but the fact that it helps me fall asleep very quickly is huge. So something else, another kind of device that you could look into if you're interested. So these are my current favorite things. The gratitude journaling, the 5-minute journal to be specific, bone broth, red light therapy, the Apollo Neuro, and the brain tap. The other thing I was going to mention is another little practice that I've dabbled with and done, and I really enjoy doing, and I think maybe some of you listening might as well, is at the end of the day when you're doing your gratitude journaling, to have a separate journal. And I know this sounds like a lot of work, and if it feels like a lot of work, then this is not for you. The point of all these things is that they should make you feel good, and you should enjoy doing them. And yeah, actually, let me chat on that for a minute. I recently had a patient visit with someone, and she gave me the list of her habits, and she was blood type A and also a very type A person. And she was like, yeah, well, here's what I do. She's like, I get up in the morning and I meditate and I do yoga and I write in my gratitude journal and I do this. And she had a checklist, and she's like, I checked them off the list. And I was like, well, that's cool. How do you feel? And she's like, I don't feel any better. I don't feel like I do anything now. And I asked, do you enjoy the things that you do in the morning? Like, do you look forward to it? She's like, no, I do them because you're supposed to do them. And I was like, okay, this is where we need to have a conversation. So, I'm giving you guys all of these cool health hacks, and they're great. If you want to do all of them, great. If you don't want to do any of them, great. The most important thing about any health hack or any health habit or any habit in general, particularly as if we're trying to enhance your life or optimize your life, right? You want to enjoy doing it. You don't want to do it because it's another thing to do. If you're doing it just because it's another thing to do, and maybe sometimes you start out feeling that way, but if after you've given it, a couple months and you're like, all right, I'm just doing this because this is what I should be doing, you're kind of missing out on some of the benefit of any of the things that we do. Because some of these like enhancing habits, like the gratitude journaling, should make you feel good. And that's part of why it's so beneficial, is that it makes you feel good, right? And that's what we ultimately try to get at, is we want to feel good. Same thing with the red light therapy is maybe a little bit different. Like, that's going to give you even if you don't enjoy that, I would still recommend doing the red light. Just put it on while you're doing something else. But these other things, the meditations, the red light and the Apollo, those two are actually going to be affecting you physically. But the writing and the gratitude practice, or meditation, or breath work, or yoga, or exercise, some aspect of those practices should make you feel good. And if they're not, you might want to find something else that does make you feel good. So sorry to be a little bit confusing about that, but the gratitude journal, love it. And the other thing I was just going to add was that at the end of the day, if you really like the gratitude journaling, if that makes you feel good, you could start another practice where you journal. I like to call it your wins journal. You just journal all the great things that happened to you and journal them as a win. Like, I had this great win today, XYZ happened. And sometimes it might be like, I got stuck in traffic and was 5 minutes late, but because I was 5 minutes late, I ran into an old friend and we got to talking. Sometimes, life works that way, where something sort of doesn't work out, but then you end up having this like kind of cool serendipitous moment about it. So starting to write those things down and kind of celebrate those. Again, this is another way. And the reason this is helpful from a purely physiological standpoint is that it's training your brain to kind of pick out the good things, right? You might have had a bad day, but if you're able to be like, this bad thing happened, but that then led me to this. Wow, like, that's really cool. I'm going to celebrate that. So this is kind of training the brain to, again, look at things in the positive light. It's also fun to just write a page of like, oh, look at all these good things that happened to me today. So if that makes you feel good, highly recommend that as well. So again, the message of this episode is, I've got some cool things that if you want to try, definitely go try them. But there are a lot of health habits and a lot of health hacks out there. Most important thing is that whatever you're choosing to do is that you feel good while you do it and you enjoy doing it. So hope that was helpful. Hope you guys have a great week. If you do try out any of the things that I mentioned today, please let me know. You can share this episode, share it on social media, send us a message, send us an email. I love to hear if you guys are enjoying the things that I share about. So Hope everyone has a great week. Take care.
Thank you for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to connect with me on social media and leave a rating and/or a review. This helps grow the show so more people have access to this knowledge that leads to empowered healing. Love and light, and see you next week.